Mm, all right, I believe we're started. Are we? Let me see. Yep. Let me see. Are we started? Yeah, it seems like. Yeah, we're started. Let me see. Are we started? Yeah, it seems like. Right. All right. So, hey everybody. This is pretty late stream, honestly. I was kind of feeling a little tired and, at least a little bit lazy, I guess, or whatever the heck you would call it. I have ADHD, but I am trying to do at least a little something. So, what I'm going to do today is we're going to do a little inspiration practice from specific artists that I like, and we're going to also do some color theory experimentation. And so, as you can see, the artist that I got right here, I have some of his character sheets. His name is. Oh, that is the worst color to use. That. Come on. Awesome. Tetsuya Nishio. He's worked on, I'm pretty sure for you Naruto heads, if you're an old head like me, you'll recognize his work from what he's done on Naruto Shippuden, and also I believe the first Naruto movie, what was it, Path to Ninja or something, the one with like the little night guy, and like where we got like Sakura, Rock Lee, and Naruto as like a team group, which was a pretty decent, that was a pretty alright movie. But he did the character designs for that movie, and you can see that his work continued into like Shippuden as well. And I think his style would be very good to like learn from, especially in my sort of like vector style, where it's a lot of very simple shapes, because he manages to get a lot of mileage out of what's very like simple construction. So also I made like a little template of just a bunch of different like shapes. This is kind of like my little rudimentary template right now. Don't mind all this. But as you'll see, or at least as I'll try to demonstrate, a lot of what he does is like very, there's not like a lot of very complex lines in terms of like construction. And what I mean by construction is like when it comes down to things like the shape of the head, like it's all a very smooth, it's a very smooth line, and the shapes kind of like flow into each other. There's not a lot of, there's not like a lot of detail, like right here, like here's an example, like there's a very simple line that has like maybe a little bit of a dent in it, but overall it's just kind of like very simple shapes, very simple lines that really flow into each other. And I got inspired to kind of like borrow off of his style because of the way that he drew the main character in this wit production, from this little short OVA thing that they made. well, not OVA, but like little 6 episode series called Vampire in the Garden, and specifically in regards to the main character and her construction. Because when you look at her, you're probably thinking that like, oh, she's she's like she seems fairly detailed to me, you know, like you got the eyes, nose, and the mouth and everything, but it's actually a very simple construction because when you look at her like design in general, she is primarily like a circle. Like her head is almost entirely a circle, maybe like an ellipse that follows one line. Like the fact that you can frame her almost perfectly in one big circle is speaking to what I'm talk lips. Is speaking of what I'm talking about, where he has these very simple like shapes that as like the outlines, and then like on the inside he adds just enough detail to be evocative and like expressive without being like overbearing or like overladen with a bunch of detail, you know. um, because for right here, like even again another simple line I could do is just one right here. Oh, that is thick. Oh no, let me just shorten you up. Like here's a simple line, here's a simple line, and here's a simple line, and they all kind of like flow into each other because you know there's like this manages to like very cleanly frame the face so that all you would really have to do once you've established the parts like where her head like separates, where her hair separates from her head, you can then just start drawing in the little smaller details that should make up her face. And then if I wanted to use like say something really small, if I wanted to use like a little small circle for like the eyes are actually not a circle. They're kind of more like a rounded diamond actually, or some. No, let me see. One, two, three, four, five, six. So a hexagon actually. It's actually a very rounded hexagon. Like here, let's count. One, two, three, four, maybe like five. There's probably two right there. Four, five, six, seven, eight, nine. And quite honestly, you could just get away with merging all of them together. Because what you're gonna do is like you're gonna round them. You're gonna round it out. And again, we're gonna do the same thing on this side. So one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. It's about seven. So that one's a non. That one's what was it? Not septagon, hexagon, heptagon. I forgot what the name of those were. When it's like seven sided, I know hexagon, penta, hexa. I know octa, nana, and deca. I don't remember what I don't remember what you call the seven sided one. But round that out too, and look at that. You got these very interesting like eye shapes, and all you have to do then is just make like very small circles. I'm gonna just clip it real quick so that it just fits inside the eye. Do the same over here. That's about right. And then the smaller features, they're just lines. Oh, also, I noticed the music stopped. Give me just a second. I gotta pull it out over here to make sure they keep playing. YouTube audio. What a godsend. And yeah, and then like for her neck, you could just do a simple, you could do like a simple rectangle. Turn that into her neck's a simple rectangle. And well, actually, for the sake of just keeping it as like a sketch, we'll just not use the rectangle because I don't feel like dealing with the whole like clipping and everything for that. That would be a whole thing. But let me lock this image. Can I do that? Yes. Lock it real quick. So let me select this. When I pull that out, we got a pretty decent like little character design that's fairly simple. That like within very few lines gives you like so much character. And you know, I'm borrowing very heavily from what has already been like a very sketched out character that's had like so much work put into them to begin with. However, you can at the very least understand why I find it appealing to use in like a vector style if I'm going to be doing a little bit of what I'm doing already with my like characters. I want to see, what I do want to see first and foremost is how well that translates into a more lineless style. So I'm just going to experiment real quick. We'll do a neat color like this. Alright. And then just make it a little and it's not going to matter because this is all going to get covered up anyway. Get the neck. I'm probably going to stop by the time the music stops if I don't have the energy to keep going. Sorry if that's a little disappointing. But then again, no one's here, so who's to be disappointed except myself? Now, we got the basic skin tone. Next, we're going to get the hair. See if I could properly replicate this hair. Like that. Yeah, from right here, then there. Alright, I got it. Make it brown. You make it round. Just gonna try and best to go on. It's basically a virtual sketch, so we don't have to go for perfect. At least want to go for accurate. Whoa. Spazzed out on me. Do I need to add a node for you? Yep. Boom. Bow. Alright, cool. Let's see how the two of you look. Okay. That's a look. I would actually prefer you be about here. Alright, cool. Next, lead us sleeve. We're just going to add 2, 3. Let's make it nice and bright. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then round the two of them off. Smooth, let's make them smooth. So it doesn't be like too off-putting. Alright. Then we're gonna bring the hair up. I'm gonna make some circles for him. Oh, there's two of them. Why is there more than two of them? How many did I just make? A lot, apparently. Interesting. Going to use dark. Yeah, the reason I'm kind of starting this one so late is lake. I'm starting this at lake. The reason I'm starting this one kind of like late is I I had like work today, and I also had something else I had to attend to. So even though I got back home at like a pretty reasonable time, I was still feeling kind of like I keep forgetting the bottom of this thing is wet. Sorry, I'm drinking some tea too. Um, yeah, even though like I had plenty of time to start this like way earlier in the day, I was just kind of feeling a bit. I guess I was just feeling a little bit tired by then, and I just could not find the proper motivation to get started. And I heard that's just kind of like a common thing. So I realized that I had earlier this month I had been diagnosed as ADHD. I don't know if I mentioned this in the prior episode, but I have ADHD, and as I've been learning, one of the things that kind of comes with ADHD is like this sort of not inability to start projects, but more so it has something to do with dopamine, and I'm still not quite clear on what the whole effects and process of it is. But basically, the part of your brain that like sends signals to the rest of you to like start a project and do something, they can like not send those signals. So even though you recognize that you have a thing that you have to do, the motivating like signals in your mind don't actually like shoot off. So you're just constantly sitting there recognizing that there is something to do. You should do it probably now, but you're just chilling. You're just kind of sitting there, and you're just thinking about doing it more than actually getting to doing it itself. It's very frustrating, both to describe and to experience. But and I feel like it's nice to understand that I'm not necessarily lazy. I'm just built different, I guess, which is toot my own horn, why don't I? But built different in the sense that there are just natural challenges that I have to account for that I never knew I even had until literally this month. And I'm 30 years old, and that is quite something to, figure out so late in the game, I guess. And as fun as it has been to kind of like rediscover myself in a way, now that I understand this part of myself I didn't before, it's also a little like, I would say it's maybe a little frustrating in the sense that like I always knew I was in my own way, but now I finally see the shape of the road bump that I've been tripping over, and I realized that I have to change the entire way that I drive now, because I don't want to mess up my car. This analogy is kind of getting away from me, but basically what I'm saying is that I'm learning new strategies as I go along, and it helps me be a little more fair to myself and a little more forgiving now that I know that it's just something internal that's just kind of always been there that I have to reckon with. And I there are strategies to do that, and I will find my own to do that with. But you know, it's a whole journey, and whether happily or not, I have to take it. But yeah. Anyway, that was a lovely little spiel about nothing to basically explain why I am late as all sin, when in actuality, I really just did not feel like doing it, like doing any streaming. And cause see, I tried the trick with where like I tried to do like smaller tasks to motivate me to do like a bigger one, and I ended up being like, well, I sure am satisfied that I got these smaller tasks done. Maybe that's enough for today. And it's like, no, because like you set this aside as a thing you were going to do every Tuesday. If you're seeing this, it's on a Tuesday. You set this aside as like a thing that you were going to do on Tuesdays, and you didn't. So get to it. You know, have some discipline. Because it's not like I don't enjoy doing this anyway. Like I like streaming quite a lot, actually, more than I anticipated. It's just kind of nice to be able to sit, and I feel like I'm being a lot more productive from doing what I basically would be doing already, but by just simply, I don't know, there's something about recording it that makes it feel a lot more productive, I guess. Oh, God. Cripes. No, I messed it up. That is absolutely not what her eyebrow look like, but we're gonna roll with it. Alright. And yeah, I also got to remember to do some things. It's funny how the mind works. Like, earlier today there was also something that I told myself, oh, I should do that now before I forget, and then I forget because I didn't feel like doing it right then and there. And that's another annoying thing, is that I almost feel like it's if I don't have the energy to do something right then and there, I'm probably going to forget it. Or if it's not the right time to do something, I'm going to just forget it. And I had to either make a note right then and there to do it, or I had to just do it right then and there. Or otherwise it's just gone. It's like, otherwise it will be gone. Like, it just popped. Like, there was another thing that I had to do that just popped into my head right now. And you know, when I was first notified to do it, 5 hours ago, I'm pretty sure it was like either 5 or 6 hours ago that the thought first crossed my mind. It was like, hey, you should go and do this thing. And mind you, that was the second thing. The streaming was the first thing. So I already had 2 things on my mind that I had to do today, that I just decided I was going to wait till the absolute last possible moments of the day to get around to. And they're important. They're certainly important, and I'm glad I'm doing at least one of them. I might do the second as well. But man, you can kind of see how unintentionally self-destructive it is to be ADHD, because it's not like you intend to ignore these things. They just literally don't stick around in your brain long enough for you to address them, only for it to then come back at like some later date, a very annoying later date, mind you, and be like, hey, remember that thing you should have done? And my mind's such a jerk, because it'll pull up like dumb, forgettable stuff that like I buried deep inside like 10, 15 years ago just to embarrass me and make me feel bad about myself. But like actual tasks that I'm supposed to complete and like actual deadlines, couldn't be bothered. Legitimately could not be bothered one bit to remember. And that's very frustrating. And you know, oh, that is a turn. We're going to skip that one. That is not the mood I am setting right now. There you go. That's a little better. Yeah, it's super frustrating having to deal with essentially your own mind telling you, like telling your mind one thing and then it's just doing something else completely because it's just more interested in something else, not what you're doing, you know? Alright, I'm just going to move my little Muppet lady. We're going to group, move her away. We really need to play around with the colors on her because she looks like a Doug character. I'm dating myself here, but there used to be like this show on Nick, this cartoon called Doug. Like all my 90s kids, y'all understand. Especially like I remember the opening song was just so catchy that anyway, but Doug had a lot of like really weird, has a lot of really weird skin tones and colors because I know his best friend, I think he was, what was he like, shaped? Like I swear I could just like he was, I'm pretty sure he was almost this exact color. He was almost like, I'm totally pulling from memory, so bear with me because I know he's probably gonna look so weird. Here, I'll just draw the nose because he had a big honking nose, and he had like big eyes. And then like he made a lot of weird noises too, didn't he? I forgot. He was a real weirdo, if I remember correctly, and God bless him. That was a good thing, because he was also ride or die, which is all you can really ask for in a friend. But I remember he was kind of cool. And I'm not even gonna bother trying to make this look nice. I forgot what the top of his head looked like. I think it was just like lines. Like this or something. Butchering them. I'm butchering them. I think that's about right. Whoops. Boop. But yeah, basically my character has that kind of thing going on where she's this very weird, like, skin tone. It's kind of reminding me of that right now. What that dude's name was. And didn't he have like weird I don't think that's right. I don't think that's the way they were shaped. But it's something like that. They look like they're in like an argument or something. Like some kind of marital dispute. Personally, I think she could do better. Alright. Oh, whoops. Yeah. That was a mistake. I knew it was a mistake, and I forgot. Ungroup. Wait. Oh, mistakes were made also. So. So now we're going to use shadows to kind of like shape the chin a little bit. Again, nothing too crazy in terms of like the shapes. Ding 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 ding. It's country time. Ding 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 ding. That works. That's also a little bit too dark, my goodness gracious. You know what? I'm cool with it. But yeah, let's Let's change the color a little bit. I'm not even sure if I like these little lines I've made. They're kind of, they're okay. I wanted to see if I could do it with just like shades. Let me see. Because the thing is, at a certain point, you do have to acknowledge the actual line work. And converting that into like a lineless style can be a bit tricky at times. Because essentially, you aren't drawing, like the parting of the lips is a line and that's all well and dandy, but when you're drawing lineless style, you're actually drawing the lips themselves, and you're letting the shape of, and you're letting like the contrast between the two you're letting the contrast between the two shapes be the line that be the line instead of actually just straight up drawing it, you know? So like that would be somewhat where her lip would be, her top lip would be. This would be more or less where her bottom lip would be. Round them out. Like, so you would see, so you see like, you could do it like where you have a space in between them and then you let that space be the line that substitutes for where the mouth used to be instead of just drawing it. You can do it like that. She looks like she got like a weird makeup on. So that's one way you could do that, or you can change the color of one. Actually, usually the bottom lip is brighter. And then let them sit on top of each other. Just let them sit on top of each other, and then you let the contrast of values or colors be the dividing line in substitution of this. In substitution of a simple line, you could let the colors themselves make that line for you. And if you're noticing, this is something that Kim Possible does with its female characters specifically. Like, I'm sure if you've seen it, a lot of you remember the old mustache lip, where a lot of the female characters, you'll see it on Kim a lot and you'll see it on Shigo, where they'll just have this little Nike swoosh of an upper lip that just goes across their face. And as you can see, that really is all you need to like sell the idea of that's a mouth. It doesn't really have to get that deep. So where my issue is just figuring out like what option I think suits me best. Because there are plenty of options. There's always options when it comes to art. It's all about the creativity and not getting paralyzed by choice paralysis. So yeah. I am going to leave that alone. The color of her is just getting on my nerves. And just the hair and this stuff, it just bothers me. Which leads me into my other assignment for this stream, which was color theory. Now, I am going to do something really simple. So, if you haven't heard of him, he's called Piet Mondrian. You probably did a art project for him in high school that you absolutely hated because it was super boring and you don't understand why people pay attention to him. And Piet Mondrian, you probably all seen his work, even if you don't recognize the name. And it's the guy that does a bunch of what's happening here. Oh, okay. Hold on a second. Ah. Let's see. So you have like a white background, right? I said a white background. You have like this white background and oh, didn't know he does that. Now I do. That. Please go white again. I'm sure just by drawing these lines, it's looking a little familiar to some of you. It's very simple artwork, but it does stand out for just how like stark it is. Because essentially it's just like let me select everything. Just like that. Group. Clip. Alright, cool. Alright, so we got him on, we almost have a Mondrian. So, but basically we have the simple construction of a Mondrian picture, which is just squares. It really is just squares. And what he does is he'll have it to where some of the squares are, let me just fix that. They're just like one big block of color. And it won't even be all of them. It'll just be like maybe a few. That's what the heck? Okay, that's weird. I don't know why it was like that. Oh, no, I still don't know why it was like that. That was weird. To avoid just messing with that. we're just going to do another one over here. And then this one will be like yellow or something. And I'm gonna just add another little square. We aren't going to worry about how little messy that is right now. We're just going to continue on because we don't have all day. And by we, I mean me, because it is late and I eventually will get tired. But yeah, so, you know, I could go into detail about the importance of his type of art and what it was meant to signify. I don't feel like it. Just suffice to say that this was kind of like scandalous at the time, just for the simple fact that it wasn't trying to be representative of anything. It was just this. It's as simplified an image as you can get. And what I like about this that I realized from looking at it, this can make a very good color chart. So I want to go over a little something real quick called, and that's huge. Screw it. 60, 30, 10. So like I want to go over something called 60, 30, 10 real quick. Ooh. I love his face. It's like, oh, what? So the 60, 30, 10 rule is a rule in design that basically goes, if you want to create a strong balance of colors or just a visual hierarchy in general, you need to follow basically the 60, 30, 10 rule. And again, you know, like all rules in art, made to be broken, not necessarily followed to the letter, but as a fundamental, it goes like this. Your primary color should be the 60%. So 60% of the image should be your primary color. 30% should be your secondary color. So for example, in this image, my primary is the red. That's at least what I was going for. They're actually kind of fairly similar in size, so I might change that. But the primary color is the red because I wanted it to take up most of like the screen and attention. And you know, being red and a very saturated red is going to do that naturally. But I did make the yellow a little too big, and we could fix that. We could fix that pretty easily. By simply scooching your boots. And, oh, I don't know what happened right here. There you go. Yeah. So my primary color in this image is red. Disregarding white as a color, primary image is red. we can also move this down a little bit more to make it even more like obvious, you know. Yeah, there you go. Right, so that's like about 60% of the image, and that's my primary color, and 30% is my secondary color. Now what you usually want to do with your secondary color is you want to make sure that it does not clash with your it doesn't clash with your main color, because it's just big enough that it'll garner attention or pull attention away from your main color. And so you want to be careful with how like attention grabbing it is. Like, for example, let's say that like I wanted it to be, if we were to do something like true complementaries and I made this a green, this, it works, and like, you know, they're all saturated and stuff, but that green is going to be constantly fighting for your attention, especially in when put up against this red. And so what you want to do is you actually don't want them to be like, you want to establish who the true monarch is, right? Like, one of them's got to be king, and even though this is like real bright red, even though this is still really bright red, you're still going to get, you don't want people to get distracted by the green. You don't want to get people distracted by the green. In fact, here, because red is such an eye-catching color already, you don't really understand the threat. So let's switch the colors actually. Actually, this was like a darker green. Nope, darker green. Well, it's that green now. I'm going to make this like really bright. So you see here, like my main color is the green, and I made it nice and saturated. It should be catching all your eyes and stuff like that, right? Like it's completely saturated. You can't see it because I'm standing in front of it, but it's completely saturated. And the red is also completely saturated. And because of that, these two are going to fight each other for your attention because they're both as bright and vibrant as they can possibly be. And they're also complementary colors. So even if one is like a little smaller than the other, they're still going to constantly fight for your attention. And so you have to establish a visual hierarchy to be like, no, this color is the one that is dominant. Now, one of the ways is with size, obviously. Like you're still clearly going to pay more attention to like the green than you are with the red. But what you want is for there to be no confusion involved. And as they are right now, there's still going to be a little bit of confusion because of just how vibrant they both are. You don't know whether it's like, because you as a viewer, you don't know how intentional it is that like this color is just here. You don't know how intentional it is that like they clash so hard. Like for all you know, that's the purpose, and it can be distracting to what you want to achieve with your design. So what you do is you either take out its value, so you make it a little darker, or you decrease its saturation. You can also go and change its color temperature. So for example, I wanted to make it like cooler. Cooler objects tend to fade into the background more, so I'm going to make this almost purplish a very cool, almost near purplish type of red. And then this green, I'm going to pull it over more towards yellow. So it's a lot warmer. And again, that looks a little ugly, if I'm being honest. Looks almost pinkish. But you play around, but basically you play around with like the color temperatures, their brightness, their values, and you get it to a point where, I mean, they're still clashing, I would say. But you can tell who the dominant one is in this interaction. Like clearly, the green will stick out to you more because it's so much brighter and more saturated. And if you were to put them like, if they were to be like side by side and the same size, like you can still notice them. Like you still notice red because it's red and it's always going to attract your attention. That's just how the color is with us. But clearly, the stronger, more like vibrant color is going to win out in terms of like grabbing your attention. That's just how color theory works. That's how we work as we perceive color. And, and again, none of this is 100% science, like fact. It's just proven through like, much like science, it's been proven time and again to be effective with how people perceive color. Which is why we have these rules and why, they work. Now, we're going to go into the 10%. So your 10% is going to be an accent color. Now, this color is different in regards to the secondary color, because the secondary color directly competes with the primary color, and so there needs to be a bit of hierarchy in between them. So you really need to establish a bit of hierarchy in between them, and so you lessen the impact of the secondary color so that the primary stands uncontested. The accent color can actually just do can actually be like as bright, if not brighter. So like if I wanted like something seriously like vibrant, I can do that. And that's because it's the 10%, because it's an accent, I generally don't have to worry about it stealing the show from the main color, the primary, because it's so small. Like it has such little impact on the image overall that it can just serve as kind of like a little extra. It can just serve as kind of like a little extra piece that's just there to complement the image overall. It doesn't have to necessarily contrast with the main color, but it does in its own way. It does in its own way. Like you can have them be the exact same value, same saturation, but again, the size differential is so extreme, and in this it's not as extreme as it should be. Like if we're talking about 10%, we're talking about really that big, like there is no competition between which color is more important. Just from size alone, the differential's too big as in comparison with like a secondary color. And so you're allowed to get away with more bold dynamic choices in color in terms of like temperature, saturation, and value, because the size allows you to do that, because you don't have to compete it's not competing directly with the primary color. It's just kind of doing its own thing. And what it should be doing is complementing the primary color. So I chose yellow because these two colors are analogous and they just naturally work well together, especially since, you know, yellow makes green. So they already have like a good chemistry in terms of like colors. These two work together well. And you can have a contrasting accent color. So for example, if I wanted to make this, let's say I wanted to make this purple, right? Now, again, can't be too strong of a purple because you'll see it's already overpowering the green, even though it's not as saturated. So we're going to dull it down a little bit and maybe lighten it up a little as well. So it's a nice cool purple with a nice warm green, and it's it's plenty desaturated while our green is super saturated, as saturated as it can possibly be. Now, instead of this yellow does work well because it contrasts the purple pretty well, but we don't want to risk it fighting the purple either, so we're going to change its color to orange. We'll just go with the old secondary colors, just a tried and true blue. And with this orange, I can go just kind of like buck wild. Like, you see, I can do basically anything with this orange. Like, I can make it like super yellowish. I can make it a cool yellowish orange, or I can make it like an almost deep reddish orange. And it still basically works with this color group because, again, it's just going to be, it'll be so small that it doesn't really matter, you know? So long as the relationship between the primary and secondary are good, you're basically fine to do what you want with the accent, at least in my opinion. Like, if I wanted, I can also make it like super bright, but then you also run the risk of it being too dull and falling away into the background. And I would actually say, especially now that I'm doing this, go for saturation over dullness. Go for saturation over dullness because it's so small that, like, look, if I make it the size it's actually supposed to be, you're just not going to see it. Oh, I hope the music's not too loud for that. I'm just going to turn that down just a little. Okay. But yeah, see, look at this. If I put all three of these two next to each other, color may as well not even be there. It's basically just off-white. But if I bring up its saturation, all of a sudden it's a lot more balanced. Uh-oh. Because the little guy can be seen, ironically, as I have him in front of him. It still works because he's so small, he can't take up all your attention, So you still have the size of the others to like keep focused. But you almost need, I would say actually you would need saturation the smaller you go. Or at least with the accent color. Because he'll just fall away to the wayside if you don't have it. So that, again, learn a little color theory today, both you and I. If I wanted to make it yellow, could do that. Probably not like a dark yellow. You want it to be kind of a little eye-catching, but if you wanted to do black, you could do that. White. That teal is honestly quite strong. My goodness gracious. Teal can be a very powerful color if you let it go out of hand, especially blue. I would say like maybe around here is fine. And then you have like cool colors. They're all analogous, so they still work together. But yeah. So, I think so to bring it back to the whole Piet Mondrian thing, I think he's a nice way of like creating unique art while practicing color theory. Because what you can do, I'm just going to make a simple rectangle, right? Just going to make a simple rectangle. We're basically going to do the same thing we did before. Oh, I can already feel myself yawning, so we are probably going to cut it after this. Much. What's going on? Oh, are they all together already? Okay, cool. Alright. So let's say I wanted to start with an absolutely baller color, like some version of blue. Sure, that's a strong blue. Do something navy. Let's say I want to do navy blue, right? Cool. So my secondary color, I could do or honestly, because I like to leave spaces in between, spaces of white in between the colors in the Mondrian, as I think he also did as well, if you look at a lot of his work. We could just do the primary and the accent color. So let's say the accent color is like orange, right? What if we just take its value all the way up to 95? Yeah, that's a very simple. This is a very simple. It's not 60-30. It's more like 60-10. But you can see how there's like potential to go from here, because if I wanted to, I could also do like little variations of these colors as well. Like if I wanted to do something a little warmer, and a little darker, you can kind of already see how we're kind of blending the difference between a 60-30 and a 10, because together these two colors make the 30. Like two, where the 60 is the blue, the 30 is the orange. But if we wanted to, we could also just like view it as 60 and the 10. You just view it as the 60 and the 10, and then this is kind of like, you could say this is like the 30 in itself. Possibly. Yeah, I would say that could be, or I would make this probably the 30. I would have that as a background. But then again, I think this honestly works pretty well as a 30 as well. But yeah, so I think it's kind of a neat way to play around with color. I think it's just a very simple kind of exercise, and it can make for some very interesting little pieces as a way of playing around with color theory and experimenting with it. So yeah, I'm probably gonna call it here. We got quite a little bit of work done, I think, for what it's worth, and it is already getting late, and I am pretty tired. But I am also very thankful I managed to do this, because I was really not in the mood. So, thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed yourself. If you like, please hit the like and subscribe button. I will be doing these every Tuesday. And without further ado, thank you for coming. I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya.